Right, here we go, part 4. I think it's after 10 already, 22:41. Long day, been travelled to Joburg, back, worked hard, good day, fun day, back in the bush, just saw a civet cat, had the elephants here today. What a magical day. Had to go back and double check where I'd left off yesterday, and so yeah, ended up getting divorced. Wasn't pretty. Kids suffered, I suffered, ex-wife suffered, which again I apologize for. And that's when my life started spiraling outward, or maybe call it inward. Or it went backfired. It was bad. I'd never done drugs. I'd been an anti-drug person. Drinking had never been my thing. Sport had been my thing. So what did I look to do? I looked at a coping mechanism which I tried once, one time only, and that was cocaine. And the pain of not seeing my kids and having the normality that I had been in was just too much to bear. And trying just drugs once took the pain away. Cocaine. Could be any drug, but my choice was cocaine. And the pain and not being able to face it, not being able to, the abandonment of my kids. My ex wasn't perfect. I didn't handle it very well either. We don't come in with experience with this kind of stuff, just using the resources that we have at the time. And she was obviously hurt, and she kept the kids away from me. For the first 8 or 9 months, I hadn't done drugs. It was very late in the experience. And what does drugs do? It takes away your conscience. So it devalues everything that you know, right from wrong. And yeah, I got hooked on cocaine. From someone who had been successful, someone that was a sportsman, someone that loved life, was enormous in personality. Don't know if that's a good or a bad thing. Suddenly was using a substance which I'd been anti against just to numb the pain of the separation anxiety of not seeing my kids. And I do not blame my ex. She was hurt, I was hurt. You had a whole lot of people with highly charged emotions and everyone wanting revenge. Hey, I bought flashy cars. That reminds me. I think I had a midlife crisis, actually. So this was at 35. Had too much money. Life was easy. Didn't care too much about money because I could make money easily. But the drugs became my coping mechanism. So let's look back at my life. The addictions had been there all the time. I just hadn't really identified them and labeled them as addictions. School was about sport. Loved my sport. After school came work. Then came running. Then came compulsive buying of racehorses. Then came gambling and all the others. And what did it settle on? It settled on drugs. And I was never a drug addict that did drugs going to work. So if any clients are listening to it, I was never sitting high on drugs at work. It was in my solo time that I would do drugs. And with drugs comes porn. I'm trying to find nice words to describe it. Sites that you should not be looking at. And definitely gambling. Gambling became my part and parcel. It was just my escape from my reality, not wanting to face up to the stuff that was hurting me. And the drugs removed the conscience, so it made the situation that I was in okay. And yeah, with a big habit, it became a 4 o'clock in the afternoon thing. As soon as I'd get home, I'd isolate. You get two types of addicts. You get the one that becomes an introvert. Well, generally extroverts become introverts and introverts become extroverts. I was an extroverted person, so I stayed at home. I would hide myself away from the world because I was embarrassed, ashamed. I knew what I was doing that was wrong. And just to bring in a little bit of scripture in it, there's no such thing as a happy addict. Whether you're eating too much food, whether you've got an addiction to porn, whether you've got an addiction to prostitution, whether it's drugs, alcohol, gambling, you name it. You're not happy. You're unfulfilled. So that's why we take on some kind of an addiction. For me, it was just a pure distraction. And shit would go late into night, every night, doing drugs, doing everything that was wrong. And by the end of the night, when you had to pack it in, after you've probably blown 2,500, 3,000 rand and maybe 10 grand, 15 grand on gambling, and I was a rubbish gambler. I was really bad. I lost way more than I won. Another evil thing, that Satan's little hole. I would get down on my knees because I knew what I was doing was wrong. And I'd pray. I'd say, God, please stop this, stop this, stop this. But the drugs was more powerful because I could still afford to do it. And I hadn't hit rock bottom. So this carried on. The relationships broke up, went on from one relationship to the next, broke up with a girl who I had an affair with, and she had nothing to do with the drugs. I tried it with that person, but I mean, she was not a drug addict per se. I only tried it once, so bear in mind, one time. Then moved back to Durban, got the business going again. But remember, when you're doing drugs, you might be fresh in the day. Well, I won't say fresh. You're there, you're present, but you're not actually present. And your work suffers, and gradually, slowly but surely, you start delegating work that you should be doing to others. And it slowly starts taking a hold in your life. And your whole values shift. You start lying because you know what you're doing is so wrong. You start making excuses. You start missing meetings because you're tired. You need to sleep. And the cycle begins again. 4:30 comes, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And the only way to get away from it is to do more. So you do more drugs. And then the pattern just repeats. And it just goes on a constant cycle. You get down on your knees at the end of the night and say, please, God, take this thing away. Just please, can't. I know it's wrong. I know it's wrong. I know it's wrong. So, let me name them. Drugs, gambling, porn, prostitution, swinger sites. You name it. There was nothing that I left out. Never did anything bad, never cheated anybody, never did anything like those. I think those morals were within me. But everything was just a coping mechanism to distract me away from the pain that I hadn't chased, that I hadn't sorted out as a youngster. Then you find partners, you become codependent. And what happens, the cycle happens. You start being a poor father or an absent father. You might be there, but you're not present. And that is pretty much where we left off. I then was in a relationship for 9-10 years, had another little girl, but things in my life never improved. I cannot hold anybody accountable, anyone who ever did it. No one put a gun to my head and said to me that I have to do this. It's my choice. I owned it. I own it. I did it. I could have at any time sought help, but again, the ego and the pride, hey, I can't be shamed. Imagine what people are going to say. This person's weak. He's an addict, I will tell a quick funny story. Well, it's not funny, but I mean, it's a true story. There was my poor mom, Shaman, and her knees are really a mess nowadays because I think they knew, but they tolerated it. But because I was earning big money, nobody ever wanted to confront me because of a fear of upsetting me, etc. My poor mom, she used to get on her knees, and I think she's had to have 2 knee replacements since, but that was through prayer. And I believe prayer works. Consistent prayer works. My mum sent me to a whole lot of people tried to confront me about it, but the people that she did get, and it was done with amazing intention, they were not relatable. They'd never done drugs in their life, had never drunk. So how are you going to tell a person who is suffering with an addiction that you mustn't do this or you mustn't do that if you've never experienced it? And I'm not saying the way I did it or the way it worked out for me is right. I'm just saying it was very hard for somebody to relate to Bruce because they'd never walked my shoes. It's like you. I don't know what you've gone through. You might have had way worse experiences than what I had. And yeah, I'm going to leave it there because it's already 11 minutes. I can keep rambling forever about my testimony. So that's the end of part 4. Yeah, the journey carried on. But I will say one thing. Throughout all of that, I got on my knees every night as an addict. The end of every night, I beg God, please take this away from me. I hate my life. I hate everything about it. I hate the drugs. But unfortunately, when you're not living with the Holy Spirit inside of you, and you're not filled with joy, and there's just a huge void, everything else is meaningless. You look for it. And trust me, the devil finds you, and he gives you more of what you don't actually want. Got a story I'll remember for tomorrow. It's uncanny. The words you speak are very dangerous and very powerful. I met more bad people in that space. Only like-minded people. Remember, darkness, and this is my final message, darkness and light do not mix. I can have people that live in the dark. They cannot hang around with me anymore. Their spirit is antagonized by me. And I'm sure by you. If you're living in the light, people that are dark will come. They might hang around a little bit, but they will move out. They will disappear. They will fade away very fast. And when I was in the dark, doing all the drugs and all the nonsense, amazing how many more people from the dark came and joined. And I was surrounded by more people that lived in the dark. So just remember that. It's a very important point that I needed to make. Watch out for those people. When you live in the light, you'll be amazed. You'll only get good people come around. I never fear of anyone who comes in my presence anymore because most of them live in the light. Well, they all live in the light, actually. And if they are in the dark, they disappear. Anyway, I'll try and do part 5 tomorrow. Have a blessed night. Have a wonderful Friday. And yeah, look forward to chatting.